Welcome to the GEICO 15 Minutes or Less podcast with the head coach Doug Wojcik, brought to you by GEICO, where 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on your car insurance. Call 1-800-947-AUTO. That's 1-800-947-AUTO or visit geico.com. Welcome you inside TD Arena alongside Doug Wojcik, the head coach of the Cougars. I'm Jeff McCarriger. No script. I just did that fresh off the
That's why I'm laughing. I'm incredibly impressed.
We're getting better, just like the Cougars. We're getting better every week. Big week for the guys. Great to be back in Charleston. A long road trip, but a very successful road trip with wins at Samford and at Chattanooga. Before we get to the Chattanooga win, what a great, exciting game the other night in Tennessee. Samford, good win for you guys. 5 guys in double figures. Jai Brew with a double-double, good win to start the road trip.
It really was. I find Samford as a team, sometimes in matchups in conference play, you just have sort of tough matchups. And for whatever reason, I mean, they beat us here, and they really play the pick-and-roll offense well with the Rajon Kelly and Tim Williams post player for them. And they've just been sort of a tough matchup for us, and we were down. But we come roaring back, and in a lot of ways led by Norrie Johnson in that game. He really changed the complexity of the game for us and found a way to win, and thought we were going to win going away, hold them to 50 points in 39 minutes, and then all of a sudden they bang 5 threes in the last minute against us. But we were real happy to get on that bus and head on up to Chattanooga that night with a win.
You guys work real hard on free throws all the time. It paid off in that Samford game. We didn't know it at the time, but free throws would end up being the difference. Yeah,
we've been pretty. We've been an improved team at the free throw line. Yeah. Almost 70% in conference play versus the overall season statistics. Anthony Stitt hit some big free throws in that game. And so if we can continue to do that, I mean, that is the difference between hopefully winning a championship and not winning a championship. So everyone's got to pay attention to that, and everyone's got to focus, and everyone has to have their own routine and feel good about themselves. That's an individual thing right there. And I sort of let this, try to give them guidance, but I want them to feel comfortable shooting free throws.
So good win at Samford, and then we hit the road right after the game and head up to Chattanooga, Tennessee. A great road trip up there, and what a successful game. That was a heck of an environment, big time win for you guys.
It really was. Our whole thing was it's a much shorter trip between there and Georgia Southern. So we got in a reasonable hour, although you lose an hour driving from Birmingham to Chattanooga. Yeah. But we just feel like getting in there and hunkering down and allowing the kids to basically wake up the next morning and not have to worry about travel and practice. And we practiced fairly early on Friday, which gave us the rest of the day to rest and just watch some more tape and really get ready for Saturday night's game.
Let's talk about that Chattanooga win. We always talk, Coach, about it seems like every night it's so many different. There's so many different ways that this basketball team can win games. Yeah. And we talked about Brew having the double-double at Samford. Well, this time it was Trent Wiedemann. He had a big game against the Mocs.
Yeah, different guys and then maybe different skills or different statistics. Yeah. For instance, I'd say this, and I'd tell him this too. I mean, if Willis starts getting into his groove from 3, we're really rolling. But yet he still goes out and gets 6 points and 7 rebounds for us. Yeah. So Willis still does his job. But most people just judge based on points. And when Thursday night, Trent didn't have a particularly good game. And getting back to that matchup stuff, they have a 4-man in the kid Hood or the kid Jaffard at Samford that really stretches the defense, makes things a little bit more difficult for us to guard. Not the case so much with Chat. And, Trent came out prepared. His body language was great. He had a lot of bounce before the game and really kind of, was in a way the consistent performer early in the game when we had foul trouble, and carried us into halftime.
Coach, a couple of critical moments in that game at Chattanooga as time was winding down in that first half. Z Mason, for those of you who didn't see it or didn't listen to it, Z Mason goes off for 27 points. Now, this is a kid who transferred from Ole Miss. He's a football player, so he's just absolutely going off. All of a sudden, you get Baru and Willis Hall both in foul trouble, so you got to go to the bench. The only guy left is Matt Sundberg. He's got to come in and guard him, but you guys did a good job just kind of surviving the final 2 or 3 minutes of that first half.
Yeah, I mean, Matt battles, but he's given up. Probably giving up 35 pounds.
Oh, at least, yeah.
In the post, and it's just the way it is. It's where you hope you have another bigger sized guy, and next year I will in David Wishon. Right. But we survived. We ran in the locker room after Anthony Stitt hit that 3 with a 1-point lead, and knowing that we had the ball to start the second half. that was a good feeling, knowing that now I had 3 fouls left between Willis, with Willis and Ajayi.
Second half, obviously very exciting. I think altogether there were either 13 or 14 lead changes in that game. I think 6 or 7 times it was tied, so back and forth in that second half. And then down the stretch again, I think it was Andrew Lawrence who missed a couple of free throws. But all in all, the guys still did a good job from the free throw line.
Yeah, we couldn't shake them. We were up, I think, as many as 9.
Yeah.
Boy, we threw an outlet that got stolen, and they hit a 3, and then they hit another 3, and all of a sudden it's a game. But we've been in that situation a lot this year, and when you're on the road, and it was their Legends Day, so it was kind of a big deal. They had a women's game before. They had a nice crowd for their women's team, who I think is the #1 team on the women's side. So it was a pretty good environment, but we were able to stretch it out and find a way to win. And a couple plays down the stretch where we really do a good job of ball screening and hitting Trent underneath for some easy buckets, and found a way, and Nori hit some big free throws.
Another big critical moment in that, and this is what people have been asking me about here for the last 24 hours since we've been back in town, is the final 16 seconds when we've got the basketball and we're inbounding, and you just think that Chattanooga is going to foul right away. And instead, I don't know if they were trying to force a 10-second violation or what happened, but you guys ended up chewing up about 14, 15 seconds off that clock. Just 1 second left for them.
Yeah, it's interesting because they had fouled fairly quickly 2 possessions before that.
Right, yeah.
But I think what he was trying to do is to try to get a 10-second count or potentially a turnover and then foul as soon as we get it over half court. Well, they throw it at the sideline opposite our bench, and Anthony Stitt goes by the guy on the sideline, and there's no foul. And then he throws a skip pass towards our bench, and now they're scrambling. And then Nori gets it and throws it back out to Andrew. And by then, it was less than 2 seconds left on the clock. So we were fortunate that way. And kind of interesting, Ronrico White, Tony White's brother, almost threw one in at halftime. And he still gets a pretty good look at the end. I mean, there's nothing you can do. There's no way to foul at that point, because you don't want to foul a guy in the act of shooting, but he almost throws that in from 3/4 court.
When he first threw that shot up at the end of regulation, I didn't think he was going to have a shot because he was all the way back over by us at the scores table. As soon as it left his hand, though, I thought, wow, that might go in, but fortunately it just misses off to the left and the guys win it. 71-68 was the finals. The guys now have won 6 straight. Coach, we'll take a break. When we come back, we'll kind of talk about the overall journey and look back at the season too. Remember, there's been some big time wins, and the guys, of course, playing really well right now. Winners of 6 straight, now 10-3 in conference play. So we'll look back when we come back here on the GEICO 15 Minutes or Less podcast from inside TD Arena.
So we all set?
I've got 2 tickets to paradise. Pack your bags, we'll leave tonight.
It's next month, actually.
Paradise.
No, 4, remember?
Whoa.
Ronnie, folks who save hundreds of dollars by switching to GEICO sure are happy.
And how happy are they, Jimmy?
Happier than any money running a travel agency.
Get happy. Get GEICO. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
Welcome back inside TD Arena as we continue here on the GEICO 15 Minutes or Less podcast alongside the head coach Doug Wojcik. I'm Jeff McCarriger. Thanks for tuning in again this week. Guys coming off a couple of big wins at Samford, at Chattanooga. Now overall, the team has won 6 straight. Coach, you guys continue. The Road Warriors continue to do it again. 9 wins on the road, top 3 I think in the country in road wins now. And also overall, 13 of the last 16 wins, 10-3 in conference play. It's been a good stretch for you guys.
It really has, and we continue to improve. And then obviously over the last 3 weeks, really 4 weeks, Trent just has continued to kind of get more back in shape, and I think he's become more consistent. So the scoring goes from 64 points a game to 72 on the road, 74 at home, whatever. I think that really adds that extra dimension for our team.
You and I were joking, when you look at the stats in the postgame, they keep track of the bench scoring. And having Trent coming off the bench scoring is just blowing up right now.
It really has. And then, of course, Nori's Nori probably had his best 2-game stretch.
Yeah, yep.
Maybe not just from the shooting standpoint, but just from a contribution standpoint to help us win. So I'm hoping that kind of propels him to a point where he's feeling really good about himself and can continue to make some shots for us.
Yeah, I forgot to mention that in the first segment against Chattanooga, Nori had a great game on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, he really did, and I think he's feeling good about himself and where his sense of purpose and his role on the team. And it's just nice to see a kid like that who's not played a whole lot over his career, but he's a junior now and has had some bright moments, but now he's a mainstay. He's a staple for us.
Coach, let's look back again. You guys have won 6 straight, but as we look back on the season now and go all the way back, you guys had some big wins. I mean, it seems like it's a long time ago now, but let's not forget that win at Baylor, a win against Towson in the season opener. Towson turned out to be a pretty good team.
Yeah, Towson's got a winning record. They're second in the CAA. They continue to win. I look at the stretch really without Trent, not a lot of time to prepare. I look at the stretch at Baylor, at Charleston Southern, and at Elon as just a great accomplishment for this team.
Yeah.
And then, you know, we were continuing to grow and learn and everything. And then you had the lows of an Anderson and really the way you got beat down by Louisville.
Yeah.
And yet we just continue to kind of progress. And that's what it's all about, really. It's just unfortunate that we're in our conference doesn't allow us to have those moments and still be a tournament team from an at-large standpoint.
Right.
If you're in the ACC, you can have that journey and still get to the NCAA tournament and in an at-large position. That's the only unfortunate thing, but I'm really proud of the guys. They've been unbelievable to travel with. There's a sense of maturity there. There's a sense of purpose there. I think we just continue to get better with the ball. I think our progress with the ball and taking care of the basketball. I mean, we got pressed the whole night, Saturday night against Chattanooga, and had 9 turnovers. So just really, it's hard to kind of summarize in 5 minutes.
Right.
But just, you can't just judge us based on a loss, and you can't just judge us based on a win. But when you look at the whole picture and really the journey as a team and then as individuals, look at Theo. Look at Theo's progress from the beginning of the season to now. I mean, heck, I think he was so nervous at the beginning of the year he missed his first 5 or 6 free throws, and now in conference he's like a mid 70% free throw shooter. So, and I think they each have their own story that way as players. I think Andrew has become a better leader as the season has progressed.
Sure.
Not just a good offensive player. I think he's become a better leader. Anthony Stitt has really improved every area of his game. So it's exciting to see.
Well, and you and I talked about this before too, but while on one side we say, well, if we could have won that Auburn game, you have a healthy Andrew Lawrence, you obviously win that game. You win the Samford game at home. You guys are up by 9 with about 4.5 minutes to play. If you win that game, maybe we're one of the first teams to 20 wins. But those losses have really defined this team and really kind of made you guys who you are as you've built through the season.
Well, I think unfortunately to some, the Louisville game defined a lot for a long time, and then of course you come back after finals and lose to Anderson. But if the truth be told, as a program, as a team, as individuals, as a group, the Anderson game probably brought out the best in us.
Yeah, I agree.
If you want the truth. I mean, now, trust me, would I love to have, let's not be selfish and take 3 back.
Right.
Let's take Anderson, Samford, and Georgia Southern back.
Georgia Southern, yeah, that's another one.
Okay. Yeah, I'd love to be 21-4.
Yeah.
But we probably wouldn't be where we are today had we not hit that low point.
Coach, another big week ahead, obviously. Davidson on Thursday, Georgia Southern on Saturday. So both teams that you guys will have a chance to get a little revenge on. Let's focus on Davidson. That's the game on Thursday. That's the big one on Valentine's Day everyone's talking about.
Yeah, well, it's exciting to have that game. It's just like kind of going into Chat's gym the other day. You knew it was kind of a big game for them. And I think that's why we do what we do, is to play in big games and exciting games and games that our fans can be excited about. And to me, they're the best team in the league. They run the best offense. They've got 7 upperclassmen. I have all the respect in the world. I know our fans, that's our rival, but there's no hatred there. There's actually mutual respect in my mind. It's kind of like a Duke-Carolina thing. So to me, I'm excited for our players, especially to have the whole week kind of building up for it. And then, of course, on Saturday, Anthony Johnson gets inducted into the Hall of Fame, and I've already put that out there to our team that, hey, that's the best player in our program history, and we need to honor him, and we got the revenge on Georgia Southern as well on Saturday.
This 15 minutes or less is killing us this week, but in about 20 seconds, what's the big key for Thursday night against Davidson?
Well, they beat us in transition. Everything was equal pretty much the whole game except for those last 4 minutes of the first half. Now, remember, we got in foul trouble, too, with our bigs.
Right, yep.
So hopefully stay out of foul trouble. Transition defense is really important to us.
Thanks so much for your time. We'll see you on Thursday.
Thanks, Jeff.
That's Doug Wojcik, head coach for the Cougars. I'm Jeff McCarriger. Thanks for tuning in for another edition of the 15 Minutes or Less podcast brought to you by GEICO, and hopefully we made it again. We'll talk to you again next week.